Folks, welcome to Old School Player of the Week, episode 2. How is everybody doing in this week 719 of the coronavirus lockdown? Fairservice, how you doing up in the great state of Canada?
Surviving. I am actually working a lot, which is not the worst thing. Working from home at the kitchen table, but we're doing okay. We get out and walk around and stuff, but other than that, can't really complain.
Any bagged milk shortages yet?
Not that I've heard. I have heard there are potential disruptions to the supply chain in terms of meat, which okay. You know what? I'll be fine.
Not an issue.
Yeah.
Michael, how are you holding up?
I mean, I can't really complain. We're all healthy and safe and doing well, but losing it a little. I think this week. I think my wife earlier today was like, okay, this energy has got to go somewhere. So, I miss people and things and going beyond my stoop without the fear of imminent death. So,
remember places?
I know. What were those like?
Well, luckily you have an outlet. You have an outlet for some of the energy. We're going to remember some guys today. So somewhere to focus that energy. Your wife will be grateful.
Yeah, I mean, it's all worth it if we can remember some guys. So
yes.
How are you guys holding up?
Yeah, Rye, how you doing?
I'm good. I also miss places. I'm wondering if people are eating toilet paper now. Why is there no fucking toilet paper? Did nobody shit before? Is that what's it?
We're just cutting out the middleman. We're just cutting out the middleman. We're just doing the toilet paper from beginning to end.
I've never seen more off-brand toilet paper things. Yeah, like the shelves at my grocery store would usually be like the typical whatever Charmin, Bounty or whatever, whoever the big three are. But now there's all this just weird, individually wrapped shit that was meant for office buildings, and it's crazy. And there's none of it.
No, you don't want that.
That's one of the reasons that they're not there. They don't have a lot. Is because there are lots of places that make it for the giant rolls for the offices that go in industrial public toilets, mm-hmm. and they haven't been able to switch it over to make it for your home. So there's a bunch of toilet paper lying around waiting to go into an empty office that has no people in it.
Damn.
I'll take a giant roll now. I would love a giant. That sounds great. That would handle me for a year. Wonderful. One giant roll, please.
And it could be like a make work project because you could craft it. You got to build a holder on your own, and that's just eating up all these hours that you have to spend anyway.
Yeah,
just gonna use old books.
It struck me as I looked at the title card for the slide presentation, which we will now go to. I do need to figure out how to make you guys all appear over here. Hang on, we're gonna do this. We're getting there. We're going to do the gallery view. We're going to do the little thing with the guys. There we go.
You're like COVID era Chris Russo right now.
Hey,
you got to yell more.
I got to yell more. But it did strike me that you guys could be a celebrity couple. We would just call you Fairservice. What do you think?
My name is a perfect fit for all of those things. Just jam them all in there. Off you go. I'm for it. I'm already excited about the idea. Thank you.
Your name contains multitudes, Drew.
It does.
All right, so let's just get into the guys straight away. The first card, I believe this is Drew's, and Drew, whomst do we have here?
So the last episode, when we started, we had been talking about this, and I was trying to remember some guys and trying to remember some cards. I was never a huge card collector, but this Bowman set that Bill Hanstock actually mentioned on the last week's show, I had the full set. My grandfather, who actually lived in San Diego, he used to bring me weird baseball things. I would only see them every couple of years because it's far and it's expensive. It's a really crazy flight. So he would bring me baseball stuff. And one time he showed up with this full set of Bowman cards, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." So then I started thinking about when I was trying to recall the set, if there were any cards that stuck out to me. And there's a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card that's in there somewhere. And then there's a bunch of cards that are any baseball cards where especially in the old days, they would have the photos of the guy and holding his glove like this, but there would be like the one hole for the finger, and the finger always looked like a big cock. Like there's so many phallic cards. And also, so as a side note to that, I went looking, I couldn't remember. There was one in particular. It might have been John Candelaria, who has like, I'm not sure if he's like what his background is, if he's like Portuguese or if he's like from Mexico, whatever. But he's swarthy enough, and his finger was massive enough that it was like just the most phallic thing I've ever seen in my life. But then I found this site where you can go through and check out all these cards, and I saw this photo of Jose Bautista. As Bill mentioned in the last week's show, these cards were in order. So it was like the Baltimore with B was first. So like number one was whoever was alphabetically first on the Orioles. And I started going through the cards, and I saw this guy who's Jose Bautista. And usually we come on here, we kind of make fun of these guys, and that's sort of the vibe. But he looks so pleasant, and he looks so happy, and he's smiling, and it's a nice photo, and it's got his autograph down there. I mean, the vibe is cool. That's a really good Orioles hat as far as those things go. The hair is like perfect, like, 1989, beautiful. And then I started thinking about his name, because it's Jose Bautista. And he's also, and he's in a way the guy that like ruined 1,000 baseball reference searches, where you're like try to get to find out about Jose Bautista, but instead you're Jose Bautista. But then I started thinking about that, and it also went back last week. You guys were making fun of Canada, which is of course inevitable and obvious and easy, and so I decided that I'm going to lean into the little brother syndrome, and that's why I've selected this Jose Bautista card. Because think about this photo in 1988 or 89 when this photo was taken. Jose Bautista was on top of the world. This guy. He defied the odds. He made the big leagues out of the Dominican Republic. He was Rule 5'd up to the big leagues in 1989. He was not that great. He went on to pitch. He pitched 9 years in the big leagues. He was a below replacement level player for 9 years. He made it a pretty good chunk of money. He had a couple of good seasons in there. At the time of this photo, top of the world. Now, he's not even the most famous Jose Bautista to get Rule 5 to the Orioles ever in baseball, which is so sickening. That makes me sick to think about that. Because like, imagine you're Jose Bautista. You pitched in big leagues for 9 years, and you go to travel, and you're at the airport, and say you come to Toronto, or you come to Canada, you come to anywhere in the United States, and they see your passport, and they're like, "Oh, Jose Bautista, you play baseball?" They're like, "Yes, I did. For 9 years I played baseball, but I'm not the one you're thinking of." And like, that's just such a I feel badly for him, in as much as one can. But at the same time, look at this guy. Look at this look in his eyes. Look at this pleasant smile. He doesn't know any of this stuff yet. So that's why this guy's vibe resonated so strongly with me as he's got the little brother vibe.
Absolutely. And the activator right at the golden hour, like they've captured so much about spring training likely in Florida. It just has big Florida energy. It looks like the evening rainfall is about to sweep through Fort Lauderdale or wherever they are. And it's going to wipe all the scum away.
He also looks like he's been like mainlining nitrates. Like he's very swollen. Like all of him is swollen.
Well, it's hard to believe.
Rule 5 is hard for everybody.
Right.
It takes a lot out of you. You really got to nitrate up after one of those.
A lot of bologna sandwiches back in the minors in those days. We didn't know then what we know now about nutrition.
I mean, this card is just perfect. I mean, like, Drew, this pick is inspired. There really is like a feeling of like just calm and peace in this card, like that soft blue in the background. Just looking at this, like on the images, like, oh, you know what? I was stressed before, but like Jose Bautista's like smiling face and permacurl is just warming the cockles of my heart.
I do feel like we need to talk a little bit about the bang situation that we've got going on.
Yeah, that's like a nice timestamp. Like that shows exactly when and where we're talking about. Which the mustache itself is like getting you most of the way there, but the bangs coming down the front, it just really seals the deal.
I was definitely guilty of this hair and hat combo.
Oh yeah.
I feel like he probably had when he got his Rule 5 signing bonus or his first check, went out and got maybe a Mitsubishi Mighty Max and like put one of those dancing beds on the back. That's what this hair is telling me. Y'all remember the mini truck craze of the late 80s? This is all of it.
Oh my God. I have a friend. I was at his house. This is like 8 years ago. And he had a Jose Bautista bat. And I was like, dude, you've got a Bautista bat. This is amazing. And he was like, hold on. This is the pitcher when he was on the Giants.
Oh, man.
What, game used, world? How desperate and degenerate do you have to be dealing relief pitcher game used bats? What's the market for that?
How does this guy even have a signature bat model? I didn't know relief pitchers got signed bat. This is crazy. Why would this guy order bats?
It looks like
maybe he was the prototype two-way player in his mind. He knew he could hit. He's like, I can swing it. You just got to let me get my chance. I also want to bring it to everyone's attention. You can see on the screen, this card, as Bill mentioned last week, is taller. All these Bowman cards were big, they were in an older style, so they didn't fit in any book. So I had this entire set. I brought it out and tried to put it into folders, and none of them worked. It was great. Ruined the entire experience.
Super annoying. All right, shall we move on to Michael's first card? Who do we got here, Michael? There we go.
Oh, man.
I had to lead with the back.
Yeah, this set is I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I pitched this story today, so hopefully I can hunt it down. In 1996, for some reason, Pinnacle was like, Christy Brinkley, you want to take some photos of baseball players? And she took photos of the Indians and Braves. So it's the two best teams that year. Do you want to take some photos? And she was like, yes. And obviously the players are like, sure, I'm game for it. They're all amazing. There's Fred McGriff in a fedora that's 15 years before the Milady stuff. Albert Bell just holding a little baby and smiling. It might be the only time Albert Bell's ever smiled for the camera. But the very best one is this very, very funny Carlos Baerga. The front of the card is he's got his shirt open, and he's got the heart right there, and he's all alone. Yep, there it is. And there's just something very almost sweet about this. We're good. He's not in shape for a baseball player now. He's not in shape, but that's not going to get you in a body issue right there. That's a dad.
He's making me feel great.
Yeah, that's the proto dad bod right there. So
look how high those pants are, by the way. I don't know, they are just rising up to the heavens,
suffocating.
Yeah. Like Taylor Swift, no belly button. Okay, he's not going to show that off. So that's a thing of hers, if anyone's wondering. That's one of her go-tos. So I just have so many questions about how this came to be, and I don't know, part of me wants to make fun of it, but then the other part of me is no, we always get mad that these companies don't take chances, and it's because people like us are going to sit around making jokes about it. But it's you know what? Somebody at Pinnacle is let's do it. Get that model, get her a camera, get her some body paint, buy her, get that shirt off, we're doing this thing. And everybody bought in, and that's super cool.
And this appears to be literally a selfie in 1996, which is way ahead of the curve. I mean, she has her arm extended as though she's taking the picture herself.
You know what? That's true. Is this the first selfie? This might be a historical moment captured on film for all eternity.
My God.
This is Donald Trump's dream right here.
Well,
posing with a mid-90s supermodel, shirtless.
Would he do that? I don't know.
Was she married? Was she married to Billy Joel at this point? I think that's an important subtext to this.
That is
do you think they question. She was probably at spring training in Florida the previous year. Maybe that's how the whole thing came together. Michael, you're going to get to the bottom of this for us. I have faith.
That's my goal. The thing is, the problem with that is who do you call? You're not going to talk to Christy Brinkley. That's not happening. Pinnacle hasn't been in business, and even if they were, they'd be the guys who worked here, nobody knows who was here in 1996. So it's one of those things that maybe there's not an answer. Maybe one day they woke up and the printer was just printing these off, and he was I don't know. They got here. It's like Santa Claus. Somebody just dropped these off.
Well, in terms of the business decision on Pinnacle's end, I mean, these cards are not cheap. They are, this one's going for $3, well above a common 10-cent a card price. They're not ubiquitous. So, hey, you win some, you lose some.
put it in the Hall of Fame. Get rid of all those plaques. Just put Christy Brinkley's collection up there. So what is great, there is a Getty photo or AP, something like that. There was some sort of like press event. So there's the cards blown up giant. So there was at least one moment where everyone was like, we are proud of this. We're going to have a press event and we're going to make these photos even bigger for everyone here.
Fantastic. So they got to see this like probably bigger than life size.
Yeah, so there's a garage or a storage locker. If you watch enough like Storage Wars, somebody's going to find that locker and they're going to have $1 million haul on their hands. So
holy shit.
Like a time capsule buried under a municipal stadium in Cleveland, just like.
yes.
I love it. Riley, who do we have? Your first guy is Cliff Johnson.
Man. Cliff. Yeah. I was not aware of Cliff Johnson until I started doing the deep dive for this. He, I guess, had like a 15-year career that started in the early 70s and reached into the mid 80s. He played with like 40 teams. I didn't even remember 40 teams. It gives us insight as to what Dennis Haysbert was doing before he started acting. He was actually a baseball player. Another thing I noticed about
this. Hats for bets.
Yes, there's a lot going on with this card. We'll address the card first. Is he with the A's now? Can we be certain?
I mean, I can't tell if he's ironically playing for now with the A's or actually. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. First base premier, but with A's now. Yeah.
We got some CanCon here. Drew, do you want to break this down for us?
Absolutely. That means first base.
Premier butt.
Premier butt. Speaking of CanCon, though, Cliff Johnson played on the Blues in 1985 when they won their first division title. He was their DH, and he wore, insanely at the time, didn't make any sense, he wore 00, which in my mind at that time was like, you can't wear that number. That's not even a real thing. How dare he? But they won the division, so I didn't give a shit.
Pretty badass.
Here you go.
There's some serious dad hat going on here.
Dad hat is like levitating. Like like he has the same hair as the Jose Bautista card, but his hair is like voluminous. Like it's pushing up and out, up but not out. Like that hat is it's defying many of the laws of gravity as I understand them.
Yeah.
Pretty soul glow. He's also got Greg Oden disease, where you look like you're 49 for your entire life.
I was about to say, my man looks like he's 67 years old and allegedly a professional athlete.
But if you look at cards from throughout his career, he looks exactly the same for all of them.
Gotcha.
Doesn't matter if he's 38 or 28.
Yeah. So I think we have another example.
Yes.
Wow.
Is this later? This must have been later.
This is
but
later.
Probably pretty close by because he's still
This is
with the A's.
3 months later. Yeah.
Wearing the stingy brim, but no flat batting helmet.
Perfect for that hair.
Yeah.
That like rain warm-up jacket, it looks like you got it at a hardcore show in like 1998. Like it says A's in the front, H2O on the back.
Mm-hmm.
It actually says Bane, but just you can't see the B, N, and the E. You can just.
I had an H2O jacket exactly like that. That's why I'm saying this.
I had a sick of it all one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
There are also, I was looking at other photos of him. He's a very unathletic looking large human. Like his batting stance looks like there's no way he could have been successful. Looks like if you just handed some random guy a bat and was like, what do baseball players do? And he's like all hunched over. His legs are super straight. His pants are pulled up to his fucking armpits. Yeah, it's interesting. But he was successful enough to be in the bigs for 15 years. And I feel like guys like this are non-existent anymore. You don't have the big slugger who's not really good at anything and only plays DH.
With the 280, 500 batting line.
Yes.
I wish, as you discussed, he's very tall, right? I remember him being like super tall and wearing these like weird Cubs with the blue stripes. I'm sure he looked like he was some kind of like elongated rainbow or something that just kept on going and never stopped with that crazy color scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pinstripe does no favors to the thin man.
Yeah.
No.
These are the ugliest uniforms. They look like every time I see these Cubs uniforms, I'm like, oh, you were an ABC television show in 1982 that couldn't get like licensing rights, so you found like pajamas from like a musical you guys did 3 months ago, and now you're just gonna like stitch on a name across the front. So,
got to keep those seamstresses and whatever their male counterparts are called working.
Yeah. Now they
stuff.
make a mask out of them. So if I could get a
Absolutely.
worn jersey, I'd do it. So.
Oh, that would be sweet. All right, we're going to shift gears with my card. We're going to shift sports. We're going to shift eras. We're going to shift companies.
What?
Right here, 1993 Fleer, baby. Dominique Wilkins.
Wow.
I love everything about this card. I love Dominique Williams as a player.
Wilkins.
Dominique Wilkins as a player. Just one of those ball hog, offensive monsters who never passed the ball. I want to say I'm not sure if he played his whole career with the Hawks, but certainly his career peak was with the Hawks. Just a dunk monster. And I love everything about this era of cards. Everybody was trying to compete with the upper deck graphic stuff that was going on. So here we have an artist rendering. It was also like the peak era of the insane posters. We just have the artist renderings of Dominique Wilkins here with an actual hawk, and I can't tell what's happening with his right foot. Like some Rob Liefeld stuff going on.
It was the actual moment that he broke his right ankle.
Yes, just absolutely amazing. Galactic graphics. I love everything about the man and the card. Does anybody have any recollections of this era of card collecting? This is well after I collected cards, but I can look back now and appreciate them.
I can't take my eyes off his face here.
Yeah.
Because that is not Dominique Wilkins. Like there's in no universe is that Dominique Wilkins.
It's like young Steve Harvey.
It's like exactly what I was thinking.
The fact that they've got the weird white shadow thing that looks kind of like the NBA logo, which is of course Jerry West. Like that's not Jerry West. That's also not Dominique Wilkins. I just don't know. I don't even know what to say. The fact that the hawk is there, mostly out of frame, just some absolute choices made by the good people at Fleer in 1993.
I feel like maybe the original painting was a square, and so they just like cropped it randomly. Like that looks good. Also, what's happening off his left hip? Can anybody determine what the hell is going on here?
Oh,
does he have miniature legs coming out of his leg?
Taped fingers, an arm coming out of his butt.
Honestly, don't know.
For what it's worth, though, Dominique Wilkins, I loved watching Dominique Wilkins play basketball. Just an absolute machine. That famous dunk contest with Michael Jordan, of course, just a beast. Stuck in with those terrible Hawks teams forever, but I love it. And it's good. I'm glad this doesn't diminish my memories of him because, as I said, that's not him. So none of this ever happened to the real Dominique Wilkins.
This card looks like it should have a spelling error on it. Right? It should be like Donk Wilkins or Williams.
Yeah, his name is Williams now. That's canon.
This painting looks like, so as you mentioned, he played almost his entire, I think he changed teams at the end of his career, but this looks like the kind of thing where like they retired his jersey in Atlanta and then they let the owner's son, who has a passion for graphic design, do, and he's created a great piece of art to remind you of your time here in Atlanta. And then they just slapped it in the Fleer selection. And
they presented it to him, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Man, none of us should be laughing right now. This is quite clear. Dominique Wilkins is trapped in this very card. He is unmoored from time and space, and he's waiting for somebody to free him from this nightmarish existence that he's in, and all of us just want to laugh about how he's glistening without any light source. I mean, this is disgusting.
He's like, was that General Zod in Superman 2?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have to break him out of his galactic prison. Yes, I now know what my mission is.
And the bird just sits there and the bird speaks to him in like a Cockney accent just to remind him of all the terrible mistakes and regrets he has in his life, just to make every moment torture there in the disputed zone or wherever he's in the galactic prison.
Chasing birds.
Tantalus, it goes and rips out his
flashback.
liver every day.
Yeah, like I'm reading House of Leaves right now, and I feel like
I'm
gonna.
sorry.
I feel like I'm going to explain this card to someone tomorrow, and they're going to be like, that card doesn't exist. There's never been a Dominique Wilkins who's ever played basketball. What are you talking about? So, oh, man.
All right, on that note, let's move on. Drew, excellent second pick.
Oh,
The Gretzky that many of us didn't realize existed. It's Brent.
so this is an actual card that my daughter loves hockey and loves cards and stickers and stuff, and ended up with a big bunch of hockey cards that were from every imaginable era, including the 1991-92 OHL, which is an era I know well. See, because I grew up in the suburbs of Toronto, but when I was about this age, I moved to Belleville, which is about 2 hours east of Toronto. So not a suburb, but like not far away. And Belleville is where the Belleville Bulls play. And Brent Gretzky lived with my friend Brett because junior hockey is like I've been trying to think of an analogy for people who may not be familiar with junior hockey. Junior hockey is kind of like college football and minor league baseball, like combined. Like they don't make any real money, but it's like definitely like a precursor to the NHL. Like you go to you play major junior hockey, you get drafted, you go and then you are a professional hockey player. And Brent Gretzky was like a pretty good junior hockey player, I guess. He eventually went pro. He got drafted in the very first year of the Tampa Bay Lightning's, like their inaugural amateur draft. They picked him fourth, which if his name was Brent Fairservice, he would not have been picked fourth in the third round or whenever they had the selection, because he was a fine player. And like I met him a few times back then, and he was a nice enough dude, but also like a junior hockey player, which is like if you take the minor league baseball player and the college football player and you make them like 50% dumber, then you've got the average junior hockey player. So it's just like a bit of a rough go, but it was just, I was taken by it. He's a Gretzky. So Wayne Gretzky has many brothers. One of them, his older brother, Keith, was like also like played like more like a minor league hockey player. He's now a hockey executive. He was at one point this year or last year called in to run the team in Edmonton, which is of course Wayne Gretzky made his bones playing for the Oilers, and that was like a part owner. And then his brother's running the team. Nothing shady going on there. So Brent Gretzky played on those Bulls teams for me, because I was into junior hockey at that time when I was like 12 and 13. That's when in my mind everyone should be a junior hockey. And if you like junior hockey when you're older, it's because there's something wrong with you, or you live in like a town where there's nothing else to do. But it was perfect. I had a great time going to junior hockey games because what else was I going to be doing? Playing Sega Genesis and like jerking off. I don't know. And I went to the best hockey game I ever went to was between Belleville and our close rivals in Kingston. And there was like a full-fledged brawl, like absolutely every player on the bench, on the ice. Unbelievable. Brent Gretzky was involved in that at some point. He did get drafted by Tampa Bay. He played 13 games over 2 years in the NHL, scored 1 goal. And now he's a cop. I found out today that he's a cop in not far from where his family famously grew up in a town called Brantford, Ontario, where there's a highway named after Wayne Gretzky. And I'm sure that he has given people tickets on the highway named after his brother. This is like not even official card. Like I don't think there's any brand name on it. They just produced cards for the O. 7th inning sketch. Yes, indeed. But yeah, there he is. Brent Gretzky.
Played 3 seasons for the Belleville Bulls, as near as I can figure. Is that a long tenure for somebody in the OHL, or is that about average?
That's about average. Usually they get drafted. They play when they're 17, 18, and then 19. And then there's like what's called overagers, where if you're like a late birthday 20-year-old or something, you could kind of play still in the OHL. But most guys will play. So the great players, like someone like Connor McDavid, who's the best player in hockey right now, he got an exemption to play an extra year early. So he was like 15 playing in the OHL because he was just too good for everywhere else. But yeah, like it's very much like college football in that respect. Like there's a finite amount of time you're there, and then you move on. But it can be a lot of fun. It's changed like anything, where it used to be like you were the guy that owned the butcher shop would own the junior hockey team because it just kind of made him feel cool, and you got to like rub elbows with these players who eventually go on, and some of them play in the NHL. But now it's been sort of like there's a lot more money in it, and there's some teams have like 10,000 seat arenas, and they very quietly, like Corey Perry, who played in Anaheim there forever and ever. There was all kinds of shady stuff about him getting a free truck and getting all this sort of like paid under the table to play for what was like a juggernaut junior hockey team at the time. But yeah, Brent Gretzky, just an absolute, and again, goes back to my little brother theme, the little brother. And he wore number 9, which is like kind of leaning into it. Like you could do a lot worse in terms of leaning into being Wayne Gretzky's younger brother.
Yeah. I don't imagine our other panelists have any Brent Gretzky thoughts. I know I don't.
I mean, I love the jersey. Like, it looks like the villain team in any sports movie. And like that B with the horns that looks like an 8. Like, I kept trying to figure out if that was his number. Like, I wish they got rid of that and they just gave every number horns. Like, I don't know. The jersey's cool.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a thrilling pose too.
Heavy resemblance there. I mean, to his big brother, I guess. Only 5'11", 160. Do we believe that to be accurate?
Oh yeah, like probably 160 soaking wet. I think would be probably more of like the thing. Like hockey players, especially these guys, they weren't big. They weren't that big back then. They're all huge now, but not then.
Interesting. All right.
Oh man, he was wearing,
oh, sorry. What? Go ahead.
Sorry, he was wearing Wayne's number because I was thinking the whole time, like, what's it like to be Wayne's little brother who's now just a cop? But he's not wearing 9; he's wearing 99.
Yeah, I think you're right. That says 99.
Yeah, so weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just wonder what it's like to like be at like a family Christmas dinner and you've got Wayne Gretzky, greatest player ever. Like there's one Wayne Gretzky clip I love. That's him wearing some super expensive watch and you can see him mouth like, I got this thing for only $15,000. And then you've got Brent there. He's like, I'm a cop. I gave out some tickets earlier today. So I don't know what your big deal is, Wayne. Man.
Awesome. All right, Michael's second card. This is y'all need to prepare yourselves for this one. I was not ready. Here we are.
Oh.
I don't know. It's some lady? Like, who is it? What can you tell me about this lady, Michael?
So, okay, I tried to do some research, and the closest anyone knows is there might have been some sort of like Meet Ken Griffey Jr. contest thing, which would probably explain why she's dad hatting the hell out of that upper deck hat. It just like sits on her head, anti-gravity. Like, I don't know. There's something. I both like. One thing is Ken Griffey Jr. is the coolest dude in history. But if we look back, especially early on, all those photos, he's a super dork. Like, he's wearing dorky sweaters and jeans. He's on that, like, hip-hop track where he's like, I'm not a dope slinger. So he was the coolest dude ever, but he's also a super dork, and he's wearing his hat dorky. But, like, I don't know. There's something that was very sweet. My grandmother was a huge baseball fan, and she would have died to grip Joey Votto's hand like that on the field. Like, they would have had to, like, drag her away from the field. There's also a part of me that's like, this is so cute. Like, this is dorky 90s. Who knows why she's there? But she loves, I assume she's obsessed with baseball. It's like, Ken Griffey Jr., what a cutie. And so I'm very, like, I first laugh, and then I'm very, like, charmed by the whole thing. I find it very sweet, which, I don't know. I don't find most 90s baseball cards to, like, be very sweet.
That grip is severe. This is, like, right before they tried to pull her away, and she was just like, no!
Yeah, I assume, like, the blood flow is stopped in his arm, and if they took a photo a minute later, it'd just be, like, engorged with blood.
Stroked out.
I like the idea. So I've just noticed that she's not only wearing the upper deck hat that obviously they just like placed on her.
Ooh,
but she's got an upper deck shirt on, which to me suggests that she showed up in like her regular grandmother clothes, and they were like, "Hey, we need you to wear this like upper deck shirt." She was like, "Fuck yeah!" Just like ripped her shirt off and pulled this thing off right there on the field. It was like, "I'm meeting Griffey. Y'all can't stop me." Like I'm excited to think about that. But the grip made me think that this is some kind of like parallel universe Marge Schott situation going on where she's like, we always should have drafted you, like, even though they didn't make the choice, but like
Guys wearing the earrings, they look like a bunch of fairies now. Thought she was a monster.
The fact that she was a baseball owner, like in all of our lifetimes, just seems so insane. That
It's
if she was an owner now doing the shit that she did, it would be, I don't know if fun is the right word, but like, just imagine what your phone would look like on a regular day when Marge Schott was the owner of a baseball team.
It does seem like she should have been a contemporary of like Tennessee Mountain Landis or whatever, Kennesaw, and not from the 80s or whatever it was.
Yeah, like just this week I was reading something. Yeah, she kept a facial hair ban like until 99, and that was like the 80th least offensive thing she ever did while owning the Reds. So
I feel like we shouldn't let any opportunity to fet Ken Griffey Jr. go by. Does anybody have any junior memories that they would like to share? One of the greatest players of my lifetime, certainly.
The catch where he went with like 2 feet into the wall, like he looked like 2 feet into the wall, reached out with his right hand and made that catch. That's one of the craziest catches I can ever remember. Like, it's just one of my absolute favorite catches of all time.
I love that he wore his hat backwards and made like every white male over 40 of that era super angry.
Yeah.
Doesn't respect the game. He's got his hat on backwards. Never mind, he's fucking amazing at playing baseball. And by all accounts, a stellar human.
Yeah.
That backwards
taken from us too soon.
Yeah.
I definitely had a Ken Griffey Jr. poster on my wall when I was like that age, which was weird, but not that weird at all.
He made me want to bat left-handed. For sure.
Sweet, sweet swing. Something about the lefty stroke that just looks
so pure,
so aesthetically pleasing.
And when he got older, he literally had the premier butt of baseball. So, like I think that's the biggest butt in baseball history. And it worked.
Ricky Henderson might like a word.
Oh man, now I want like a photo comparison with like people doing like, all right, I did the pixels and the camera is like 20 meters away, so
remember some butts.
Remember some butts. We had the Dominique Wilkins card up earlier. When you asked me to remember butts, I immediately remember Rick Mahorn's butt. Rick Mahorn played for the Pistons back in the day. Rick Mahorn had the hugest ass. It was like 2 seats on the bench kind of thing. Like, just
how he got all those
unbelievable.
rebounds. Yeah,
got all the rebounds through the elbows and threw that huge ass around.
Huge ass. All right, Riley, who do we have here?
Yes. So I realized that the theme of my cards is basically dudes that played for every team like 5 times. Tim Foley played like 16 years in the bigs. I think his career WAR is like around 5. If you go to his baseball reference page, it has like every position except pitcher, pretty much. So he's pretty much terrible for every team that he played for, but he played for 16 years. Here we have him doing a thing that is athletic. Maybe.
Not convinced.
I don't know. It seems like the perfect picture for a baseball card, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Protecting his junk.
Yes. Horrified.
I would say that this is among the least aesthetically pleasing photos I've ever seen in my life. Like, there's just so much wrong with it. It's like a visual brown note. Like, from the guy's arm, like the way it's twisted and in the hack behind his arm, like that. Like, nothing about this is okay. It's offending me.
Yeah, it's.
And then the framing of the card, like Tim's knee is out of the frame and everything's off center. It's all fucked up.
This is a career highlight though for him. Like almost getting a guy out who's stealing second. But the ball went into center field. I'm trying to think of what else. I remember him because he spent like 82 and 83, I think, with the Angels. And that was like when my fandom really started to take hold. So he was just like a shitty guy that looked like Mr. McFeely from Mr. Rogers. Do you remember that guy? Maybe not.
Vaguely.
I don't know. The mailman.
Yeah.
What else? The signature.
Oh yeah,
his name is Pim Fuck Out of Here, or FOH, right? That's what that stands for.
Or Pim Poley.
Pim Poley, Pim Pom, Pim Pam, which is Pim Pam is either like a German fruit drink or a cookie that you can get in Australia.
Yeah. Or it could be Pit Pat, the pansexual spokesman of Globochem.
Yes.
Even the way he spells his surname is like it's just off. Like it's just enough. It's like a little off center. It's like his name is Foley. In my mind, it should be Foley, but it's not, because it goes on this card where nothing is what it seems.
Right. I think the back of this card has
Did I put it on?
His fun fact. No, this is just a really cool photo of him. The back of a few of his cards that I looked up, the fun fact is that he has a brother named Ernie Foley, who was also bad and played in the minors for like 7 teams.
That doesn't seem fun at all.
That tells you all you need to know about Tim, is that you should also know his wildly less successful brother, Ernie.
As discussed last week, though, the only way that these stovepipe hats are good is with the addition of the stars. That actually looks halfway decent.
Michael would disagree with you.
I know. Well,
do you have stars?
I don't. I've never done anything in my life that ever remotely would deserve any sort of recognition. So
we're going to send you a star for doing this.
Oh, yes. You've earned your first star, Michael.
I've earned my first star. What I do love about this card, especially this era, I don't know if this is spring training or what, but like all those stadiums like the 70s and 80s look like garbage city parks. Like if this was your team, like this would be an amazing photo and card if this was your softball team and like your girlfriend took a photo while you were playing. You're like, oh, we got to print that. But look at the grass. It looks awful. It just looks, garbage. It doesn't look professional at all.
All the posing and the fact that there's no ads or anything like that, it looks like they're having like a really bad breakdancing competition, like out behind the warehouse on their lunch break or something like that.
Well, how else are they going to raise the money to save the community center from the evil developer?
Oh my God.
All right. We do have another view of Tim later in the career. Look at the brim on this cap. It is 1.5 inches long.
There's a lot going wrong with this one.
Oh, that jacket though. Oh my God.
The jacket is money.
It's pretty tight.
The jacket is swag.
Look at the photo and the quality. It all makes it look like his hair. It's more like a horse's tail, like not a normal human head of hair. Like that, he'll never go bald. That's like the corpse is still growing hair. It's sticking out of the casket at this point. Like it's just horrifying and nonsensical.
One of those
magic of
oh, go ahead.
Magic of shooting on film, man. It's so lush.
Lovely. It's like a Roman war helmet made of hair. Just one piece that he could take off. The glasses are incredible too. But this is another photo where Tim Foley, baseball player, but he's just watching something happen, probably. Maybe.
We'll never know.
No.
This could just be a guy. This could have just been a fan, and they were like, I don't know, say it's the shortstop. We don't know who that is. Like, you cover up the bottom. That's just a guy who got a pass onto the field that day.
Yeah, he just happens to have a Mets cap, and he's wearing like a Gant, rugby shirt or something.
Witness protection program.
All right, we're going to close it out with my final selection. It's, hey, everybody, it's Dick Allen. He was your 1972 AL MVP. For whatever reason, he was known as Rich in some markets and then Dick in other markets. And again, it looks like one of those cards where, as Michael referenced earlier, it was like a TV or a movie where they couldn't get the rights because there's no logo on the cap or the logo isn't visible. It's also a very strange cap profile. But obviously the reason that I picked it is just the kitchen sink design aesthetic. This is Rich's 1972 Topps card superimposed on a 20th anniversary Kmart template, which apparently Kmart and Topps did a collab in 1982. This being the 21st card of that series. And Rich/Dick Allen's card is just stuck on top of it for Kmart's 20th anniversary of maybe their collaboration with Topps. I have no idea what its 20th anniversary of. It can't be Kmart, right? Kmart didn't start in 72.
Yo, dog, we heard you like cards, so we put this card on top of another card.
This is so nuts. Who greenlighted this? Like, what designer? This was 82. I mean, people were definitely doing cocaine, so maybe this is all cocaine fueled. And if it was out of Topps, it would have been out of New York. So it's very possible that people were just like coked up, like, yeah, that looks great. We'll just stack a card on top of another card. We'll do a drop shadow behind it, which they would have had to do probably manually, like on the light board. So somebody had to cut out the drop shadow and drop it on there. But there's just so much going on. And the fact that there's a Kmart series of Topps cards, I couldn't pass this up.
I'm not a graphic designer, but there are, by my count, 7 different typefaces represented on the front of that card.
Oh, holy fuck! That's good, right? The more typefaces, the better the design is.
Especially that the White Sox part of the cap is completely like I had to squint. I'm like, does that say Maine Sox? Like, what are we representing here? Which is like, that's 1962. I think it was a different time, or 72, I guess. It was a much different 72. Time. But then to like, with all of the other things, it just makes for just an absolute treat for the eyes.
It's madness.
Emptying the clip. Let it fly.
Just leave it all on the field, baby.
I just keep thinking if this was today, the email you'd get from the PR person's like Tops X Kmart collab. Like, we'd love for you to get on for Tops X Kmart. Like, we got the biggest cards from Tops' past, meeting Kmart's like tradition of value-centered graphic design. Like,
it's gonna be like Upper Deck X Hype Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could put a Supreme logo on that red hat, and then this thing is worth $7,000.
Oh yeah, holy shit! Absolutely, yeah. Just move this decimal point over a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
But so irrespective of the card, Dick Allen, widely or maybe not widely considered, but considered to be among the best players not in the Hall of Fame. Had an insane OPS and OPS plus for a guy not in the Hall, and was one of the guys who, when they did the gosh, what was that thing? Maybe one of you guys can jump in or remind me. It was the Veterans Committee where they were considering voting in all the old dudes. Was one of the universally nobody got in on that ballot, but Dick Allen very likely should be in the Hall.
Absolutely, really like I don't know if tragic might be a strong word, but like his story's pretty rough, right? Like he just got the short shrift every turn, faced probably untold amounts of racism throughout his entire career, overlooked, underappreciated, underpaid like crazy. But yeah, no, like absolutely, like definitely worthy of Hall of Fame inclusion. I mean, he's no Harold Baines, but who among us can say that we are?
I'm certainly not.
He's like the coolest dude in history too. Like my favorite photo maybe ever is him in the White Sox dugout wearing the weird red jerseys, juggling baseballs. He's got a heater in the lip. Like he's the glasses, the mustache, like he hit dingers. Like I think he also owned horses. And if I remember right, he also like released like a soul single in like the 70s or 80s. Yes. Yeah. So Dick Allen, Hall of Fame.
He had sort of like he had a Philly sound vocal group called the Ebano Phonics or something like that. Some amazing name. And was considered like widely reported to be an excellent singer. Yeah, he wasn't just doing it on the strength of being a superstar athlete.
Yeah, he wasn't, Terry Tubagoo Forster coming out with like, I'm a fat pitcher or whatever. He was like an actual like musician. It was awesome. And also
we're not talking about the Juan Berenger boogie or whatever that thing was that we discovered last week. Jesus Christ. No, Dick Allen was a real one. R.I.P. Well, that's all the cards we have, boys. Thank you so much for coming on and remembering some old school players of the week with us. It was a joy to have you.
Thank you so much for letting me remember these dudes. This was a lot of fun, so thank you.
Anybody have anything to plug while we've got you all here?
We're still doing the podcast, Birds All Day. If you like the Blue Jays, it's on The Athletic. It's outside of the paywall. So until they tell us to stop, because they're not playing any goddamn baseball, we'll keep going and let them in. Don't worry. If you want to remember some guys, that's the place to do it.
Fantastic. Michael, what about you?
Check out MLB.com. We're doing lots of weird, offbeat, dumb stuff every day, especially without baseball. I mean, we'll do dumb stuff when baseball comes back. That's what I like to do. But especially now is the time. Like, I don't know. I wrote about facial hair earlier this week. It's the time to shine if you want to talk about baseball without actually talking about baseball. So, go there, see all that stuff. Turn off the ad block and click some ads, too. I don't know.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. This is a joy. And let's do it again real soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Stay safe.
Come along and remember some guys. Old school player of the week. Money to believe these the ladies are mine.